Thanks for joining us on TVC News this hour. Some members of the civil society organizations in Osun State have threatened to mobilize youth to begin another round of protests if extrajudicial killings in the state continue. This is coming after the case of alleged police killing of a youth, Olamide, in front of his house by policemen few minutes past midnight on Sunday in Osogbo, the state capital. Rafiu Hamid reports.
Human and vehicular movements were disrupted at the popular Olaya junction on Friday afternoon by these youths. This is in protest against the alleged killing of Olamide on Sunday midnight.
Of Osun State Police Command on Sunday, 3rd of April 2022, killed one more citizen of this state.
We put it on record that those two young men, Matthew and Abiola, they were never armed robbers. Yes. One of them has a shop right at Olaya here.
Yes.
They are innocent citizens of this country whose houses were burgled by police officers and extrajudicially lynched.
They recalled the several incidents of extrajudicial killings that led to EndSARS protest, urging the Inspector General of Police to take necessary action.
Recall that some months ago, they killed a bar operator along Okeoniti. Sometimes ago, they killed Prince Saheed Olabomi of Iragbiji. Sometimes ago, 3 young boys were shot on their way to the correctional center in Ilesha.
This led to an emergency meeting by the State Commissioner of Police, the Special Advisor to the Governor on Security, Commissioner for Youths and Sport, as well as leaders of the civil society organizations at the State Police Command.
This cannot just go inside somebody's house, even if it's 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. There's no business. But upon information that these are the people disturbing the community, and 4-5 days ago, the community was disturbed, and the same community came to report. We responded, and it was behind the house, an isolated house behind the house. And those people ran into the bush, which shows that the bush was right inside behind the house, bush and a river.
We have resolved that we should give the police enough time to investigate and come up with the outcome of their investigation. And very importantly, we picked a number of people, about 3 people, to equally work with the police so that we can monitor as they're moving on with their investigation. It is important for us to all know that we have it as a responsibility of the government to protect the lives and properties of the citizens.
About 3 persons were said to have been killed by the police between July last year and now, and the youths alleged that the cases have been swept under the carpet. Normalcy has since returned to Olaya Junction, and the youths, government and the police have agreed to work together towards ensuring that there is no public disturbance. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
The Federal High Court in Abuja struck out 8 of the 15-count charge brought by the federal government against the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. Celestina Iria reports.
It has been Tanyanko ruled on the validity of the charges brought against Nnamdi Kanu, striking out some, while pointing out that the other charges have weighty allegations. She noted that the trial of the defendant shall proceed on these charges not struck out. She also held that rendition for the purpose of a criminal investigation is allowed. In the instant case, there is a bench warrant on the defendant, and this makes him a fugitive before the court. The court also stated on the issue of prescription of IPOB, the case is still on appeal, and the order prescribing the organization is still subsisting until it is vacated. Counsel to Mr. Kanu moved an application for his bail, submitting that until a person is tried and convicted, he should be allowed to walk free. On his part, counsel to the federal government, Magadi Labaran, urged the court to refuse the application, adding that Mr. Kanu had allegedly violated the earlier bail granted him. He urged the judge to be guided by her discretion vis-a-vis the circumstances of the case, and in the alternative, should order accelerated hearing on the matter so that the defendant can know his fate one way or the other.
Today, after the counts were quashed, we then proceeded to move our bail application. The defendant, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, deserves to be granted bail. The case of the prosecution has always been, and this is sheer falsehood, that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail, and that was why he was forcibly renditioned back to Nigeria.
The court, in its wisdom, now reviewed all the charges and discovered that, with the exception of 7 counts, about 8 counts appear to be similar, and those charges were struck out.
The court adjourned till 18th May for ruling on the bail application of Mr. Kanu. Celestina Iria, TVC News, Abuja.
Earlier in the year, the
United Nations has raised concerns over the need to raise $351 million in the next 1 month to address food insecurity, avert a catastrophe and extreme malnutrition among children in northeast Nigeria. This alarm was raised at a joint humanitarian and diplomatic advocacy event at the UN House in Abuja. Moyo Thomas reports.
Earlier in the year, the United Nations requested humanitarian assistance to the tune of $1.1 billion to address the humanitarian challenges in the Northeast. But now, the international body says food insecurity in the crisis-torn region is now very dire, especially as lean seasons lie ahead. The March report projects that out of the 8.4 million people in need of humanitarian assistance, 4.1 million of them face severe food insecurity and will be at risk of survival if accelerated action is not taken. This is an increase of about 600,000 people in need from the report of March 2021. Drivers of the looming food insecurity were identified as a protracted conflict in the region, effects of COVID-19 with people losing their jobs, surge in food prices, including cost of fertilizers and ready market for farmers, increased cost of petrol and other factors. Early signals also shows that the Russian-Ukraine war has further compounded this as Nigeria imports wheat from Russia.
It paints a concerning picture of the grave odds they are up against. Imagine not only having to worry for your safety, but also struggling each day to find food and adequate nutrition.
On a more specific point, help us if we got this money soon to avoid a nutrition crisis. You know, there's predictions that 1.7 million children at least under 5 will face serious nutritional issues if the nutrition pipeline is not kept up.
The British High Commissioner promised continued support to Nigeria.
We're about to start and build on an existing very large food programme, food, nutrition and agriculture programme that the UK supports. This is one of our biggest areas of support in Nigeria, will be to support local farmers to increase their productivity and increase access to markets. So that programme continues and indeed will be expanding.
Nigeria needs now, more than ever before, to double its efforts in addressing the insecurity challenges, which is the root cause and driver of food insecurity in the country.